Hey yo, what up? It's your girl bewltchedfaun, coming in with episode 30 of Fawn's Horror Corner, a series where I watch a random horror movie on Tubi and we talk about it. This week I watched Simon Says from 2025. The description Tubi gave us was, a group of friends play a deadly game called Simon Says in an abandoned house, and the stakes increase with each decision they made. So I went into this with low expectations because just a hunch, I guess. And also the day I watched this, Facebook decided to dump this meme on my feed, and I couldn't not add it to the video. So with that out of the way, Simon Says, let's get into the movie. We begin with Clara on her way to her new man's castle. We've arrived and it's awfully quiet, so she wanders around and eventually comes across this bitch. This bitch is named Dina, and she's a real fucking ray of sunshine, but we're here for Richard for the weekend. Turns out that Richard is a player, and Clara isn't the only person he invited over for the weekend. And the best part is there's no signal here either. The girls have a chat outside, and Dina suggests snooping around the place and giving him a scare for playing them. Peeping Simon is watching and wants them to play the game. They're back inside, and before long there are sounds heard nearby, so the two investigate with Dina leading the way. No one seems to be in here, but family photos confirm that this is where the Catfish lives. Neither know much about the castle beyond the fact that it's been in his family for generations. Dina notices two more arrivals and the plot thickens. So we meet Tony and Samantha. They get the rundown on the situation, and Dina gets the two in on her revenge scheme as well. Clara wanders and finds a dining table with their names on it, so the group gets summoned. Dina goes straight for the wine. I mean, same girl, same. They look at their food, and that has got to be the most unseasoned spaghetti I think I've ever laid my eyes on. This reminds me of when I had to teach my British homie Marshall how to make spaghetti over a Discord call while he was high as shit. The group enjoys some dinner, and as usual, Dina might be my spirit animal here. The group chats a bit, but basically no one knows anything, but Clara says they should just leave. No one else here agrees, which is kinda wild, but Clara has a point, and you should trust your gut instinct. If it doesn't feel right, then trust your judgment on that. But I digress, because this is a fucking movie. Dina and Clara start to fight, and Jesus, Dina can be fucking mean. Clara walks away, but comes back fast as shit because they're locked in, and they don't know where a key could be. Dina is being a big time bitch, and I guess the windows are all locked too. This might say more about me than these guys, but I'd start breaking windows at that point. No one is gonna lock me in a building and expect me to not start busting windows. So the group gets updated. Front and back door are also locked. So Clara suggests checking all the doors and windows in the meantime. Tony can't break the lock, and now a bell is being rung. So like moths to a flame, they all follow the sound, and this guy is patiently waiting for them. Boy, they look happy to see him. It's the guy they all came here to meet. Clearly, we don't know his true name. He tells them he's in love with all four of them. He says what he loves about all of them, blah blah blah. Okay, simp. He says he needs to make a choice, but that's hard. And they say none of them want you, so the problem is solved. Whoever he chooses gets the castle though, so just play his game. There can only be one winner. Tony looks over the contract. Clara and Sam say no thanks, but Dina feels different. And the contract seems legit, but this only works if all four of them play, so a debate ensues. Ultimately, the game is going to get played, or this movie would be about 20 minutes long. He disappears, and Clara isn't fucking happy about being stuck here, which I can't blame her for. She snoops in what looks like a library and finds an old journal. Something falls out and it's a picture of some lady, and she pockets it for later. Keeping Simon moaned, and Clara promptly finds a Simon Says board. While Dina finds her own mysterious woman picture, someone is creeping up on her, but it's just Samantha. Clara found something, so the group meets up, and she shows them the Simon Says board. They debate how to handle it. Dina obviously says they should play it and cracks that bitch open. She notes that there are 4 pieces, 3 girls and 1 boy. How convenient. Dina is the only one that wants to fucking play it, but that's because she's seen green. You can imagine that this goes Dina's way, so the game gets started. The whole group takes their first turns. On Dina's second turn, beeping Simon makes a sound, and it's time for a card. The card says, Simon says, tell the others what you did to your sister 3 years ago. She's not having fun anymore, and she's on a timer. Dina evades the question like a champ until the timer runs out, and she promptly zones out and awakens in this hellish area, where peeping Simon is being chatty. She wanders around in this new place, and Dina's body disappeared from the table. She's still wandering around, and peeping Simon is getting impatient. He appears and says, Simon says, play the game or die, and starts choking Dina. Now he's being a little fucking freak and is finishing the job with his hands. The group hears the commotion but are locked out and can't help. Dina is down for the count when the others enter the room. Tony and Samantha are chatting. Samantha is planning on taking her phone and walking down the road until she gets reception, so she can call for help, but the doors are still a problem for now. Peeping Tom checks in on Clara, who's sitting with Dina. Samantha walks in and does a better check-in on Clara. She ain't feeling so fucking good. Samantha thinks it could have been a delayed poison that killed Dina. She used to be a doctor, so it's not a bad guess. She had a good future ahead of her, but she got addicted to painkillers, performed a surgery high as shit, and the head surgeon basically saved the day. So Samantha went to jail and lost her medical license. But your girl is sober now. After the dump, we learn that Tony is picking a lock, so Samantha can take a hike. But Clara thinks that they should all stick together. Samantha gets her breathing, and this is actually kind of wholesome. Clara checks her phone and is shocked by the sudden reception and is chatting with the taxi driver and asks him to return to the castle, but the call dropped. Tony picked that lock like a champ, and Samantha is ready to get moving, so off she goes. The taxi driver has arrived to the castle, but he's locked out and can't go any further. Peeping Simon can't have any of that though. Tony is crashing out, and the two notice that a piece has been swapped out with a coffin, and he admits that Clara was right. They should have left. Clara notices that Samantha's piece is missing, so let's see what's up. She's moving towards the taxi, but something is clearly not right. These two frantically look for the missing piece. Simon makes a sound. Samantha nears the car and sees the deceased driver, and Simon tells Samantha that she's forfeit. He pops again and the two come back. The card box opens up and Tony reads one. It says, Simon says penalty for leaving is disqualification. They head back to the front door and find the new coffin piece waiting for them. Tony goes to take the piece, but gets spooked by Peeping Simon. It's a new day, and they both bond over how creepy Simon is, and can confirm that he's the one controlling the game. Clara speculates about previous Simon Says games and says, we just have to win. Sounds a bit easier said than done, but okay. They speculate some more, and Clara eventually comes to the realization that Dina was pulled into another reality because she disobeyed Simon, and then he killed her. Also noting that she met Richard when she was homeless and using a friend's laptop where he'd wire her money. Tony got in trouble for embezzling. The common denominator here is that they all were very lonely and didn't really have people who would miss them, so they were singled out for this game because they were seen as expendable. We see these women hiding from Peeping Simon in the other reality. This chick has been here for 20 years and says if he can't find you, he can't kill you, and then he'll move on to the next one. So she gets handed a map with the safe places to stay and runs. And this lady takes one for the team with her wrench. He appears before her, does some sick chanting, and she is down for the count. Clara pulls out the vintage photo, and the two go back to the library to find the journal. Basically, it was written by a chick who was invited here all the same, and Peeping Simon is here to give them a scare. Oh, he's got some nasty nails. He reminds them of the rules as he always fucking does. Tony investigates this curtain and says it's a priest hall, and there could be something. He works his way to the curtain and gets jump scared, and promptly goes right back for it again, but this time with different results. And we find a big gold box that the two decide to take and open up. There's a fucking iPad, which was unexpectedly funny, and some other trinkets with photos and letters mixed in, but they're more into the iPad because maybe a new Skibbity Toilet episode dropped. They load up a video, and it's a random lady who's excited to meet her rich man who's been helping her out. And there's more videos following the same premise, along with a few videos of family members asking for help locating their missing loved ones, who were in a long-distance relationship with a guy in Scotland. This chick is the one we saw not long ago who was handed the map with safe spots in the other reality, by the way. Clara zones out and Peeping Simon is banging that stick again. We meet up with the redhead we just saw. They chat, but I mean fuck, it's all the same shit we already know. However, she thinks Clara and Tony could both win somehow, as Peeping Tom can only sense one soul at a time, and she might be able to save everyone if she cheats him. And he becomes stronger when you're not alone, but he's weaker after collecting a new soul. She thinks it might break Peeping Simon if everyone loses, and now he's coming for her, and we lose another girl. He tells Clara that she's next. Tony is there when she wakes up and explains the lore to him. She thinks she's figured out how they can both win, so they go back to the board, which he's kindly updated. So buckle up, it's game time. Clara moves and it's time for a card, which says, Simon says, tell Tony what happened in 2016. And basically a young man was crying for help and she ran away and she doesn't know what happened to him. Tony moves and takes a card which says, Simon says, kiss Clara. So they kiss, I guess, and it's kind of really fucking awkward. Clara deduces that Peeping Simon gets off on watching them. I mean, state the fucking obvious, Clara, he's a freaky fuck. Tony says he's as trapped as us, because he's trapped as long as the game is being played. So Tony wants to trap Peeping Simon in the game, but isn't sure how. So we keep playing, and a new card is read. Simon says, only one winner can there be. Only one survivor can there be. A choice must be made. So they have a moral dilemma, and Peeping Simon is having none of this. The two run away and are in his reality, and reminds us of the rules once more. Clara asks to know who he actually is, his true form, and eggs him on. She says he needs his vessel to survive and collect, so he's gonna lore drop on us. Let me summarize. A millennium ago, he was banished to our planet and buried in unholy ground. He was dormant and dreamed of his blood, where woods grew around him. Some guardians of the forest protected people from him, but a plague wiped out the final one, so people started moving into the castle and collected wood tainted by his blood from his forest. This is how he got his vessel. He needs 1,000 souls to return to his world, where he will seek revenge on those who banished him. He used his vessel to create the game, which made it super easy for him to get the souls. Simon says it's time to die and starts choking Tony, but Clara gets them both moving. He didn't like that shit. Clara knows how to beat him. Nobody wins, so she wants him to think she's dead so he can get away. She grabs a knife and hands it to Tony. She runs up and stabs him, and presumably he stabbed her too, since she's down. Tony wakes up, not in a hellish world, but at the castle entrance with no stab wound. But Clara isn't here. No one is. And the front door is unlocked, and he runs off. In the hellish world, peeping Simon closes his game up, and Clara wakes up in his world. And that's it. That's the movie. Let's get into my afterthoughts. Okay, so this movie had so many parts that just really fucking droned on. So let's get straight into my talking points. What did you think of the story? So I enjoy these kind of horror movies to an extent. The ones where it's like a childhood story or a game and they make it scary, like Jack in the Box. But this one didn't fully click. The story wasn't anything to write home about. I mean, it was all pretty standard, predictable shit. And I can't say that I particularly felt invested in the story itself. Even the Simon origin story was just not outstanding at all. What about the ending? I mean, it was alright, I guess. I can't say I really felt much for the final characters, honestly. Tony and Clara kiss was weird and felt especially strange and out of place. And the attempted humor at the very end didn't really hit either because Clara was just so flat throughout the whole thing. I mean, shit, that ending just had me indifferent. Overall thoughts. Ultimately, I don't want to shit on this too much because there was clearly an effort, and if I had to guess, it's someone's early film in their career, and I don't want to dog on it too much. But however, this really got boring and repetitive. Jack's lines are mostly the same thing over and over again. The shit with the videos felt like it dragged on for 100 years. Anytime they speculated about what's happening, it felt like it was an eternity, and I had to watch it twice. So the first time was mildly fun, but on the second watch, to make my script, I felt miserable. Because when you're watching this already knowing what's happening / going on, it's just not really fun that second time around. And Claire's American accent finally made me understand why my British friend Marshall hates hearing people do British accents, because it was bad and it was different in like every other scene, and it kinda drove me up a wall sometimes. Favorite kill? Honestly, Ina had it coming. She really pissed me off throughout a good portion of this. Best and worst character? Best is the taxi driver. He really did go back to that castle to try to help Clara out. He was truly wholesome, and I felt bad when Simon clocked him. Worst goes to Dina, because Jesus, she was just fucking mean. As for the tier list, this is going in D. I didn't fully hate it, but I can't say I enjoyed it either. And I don't plan on watching it again, so I think D is a good fit. And lastly, for Character Hall of Fame, no one is being added, but Samantha was the least insufferable of the cast, so she's got an honorable mention. Well, that's all I got. Thank you for watching. If you're still here, I upload these every Saturday around 12 p.m. Eastern, as long as life doesn't get in the way. So if you enjoy, then feel free to like, comment, or subscribe. Do what you want. I can't tell you what to do. My socials are down below, as well as the link to the movie so you can watch it yourself and form your own thoughts and opinions. Let me know what you think if you decide to watch it. Next week, we will watch a new random horror movie and see where that takes us. Thank you one more time for watching. Stay safe and spooky, y'all.